Welcome into Cross My Heart Ministry. It is almost October, and that means it's time to introduce our Do It list for the new month. We're going to put that up on the screen so you can see that, our handy dandy free download that we present to you every single month, conveniently arranged on one page with categories for daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. It sort of came about through my years of raising a family, and I felt like, friends, that just about the time I got it all figured out, they were grown and out the door. So this is me trying to help you get up the learning curve. Nothing magical, nothing special about it. You would figure this out on your own if you put your head to it. So anyway, one of the things on there is to sort of occasionally clean out your pantry shelves, take inventory. And so I did that, and I found a stray can of tomatoes, some onion soup mix that needed to be used up, a can of black beans. And so I started leaking through an old church cookbook, and I found a recipe for, lo and behold, tortellini soup. Now, what could go wrong if it's got tortellini in it, is what I say. Of course, I did a little tweaking and changed out some of the ingredients, but I think it's going to be just fine. We're going to see how it goes. I haven't ever made this before, full disclosure, but I'm confident it will be great. And since I'm recording this video as I go, if it turns out to be terrible, I just won't post it and subject you to it. But I am going to proceed in faith and trust that it's going to be super yummy. I've gone ahead and pulled things together, and let me just go through. The great thing about this recipe is that it is soup. It goes in the crock pot, and making soup here at the end of September when it's still been hot is a statement of faith from me that it is going to get cold. I love fall. I've always loved fall because it always reminds me of starting back to school. I always loved that as a kid. I know that's weird, but I always get excited when there are school supplies in the stores. I love all the flavors of fall, the pumpkin, cinnamon, spice, and I love making soup. And soup just doesn't really go in the summertime. So I'm ready for chilly weather. Chilly in terms of temperature, chilly in terms of food. And today, this new recipe for Crockpot tortellini soup. The great thing about this is you just dump it all in. I went ahead and took the lid off of my tomatoes. I'm using 128-ounce can of diced tomatoes. You do not drain these. We're just going to dump them in completely. And I'm going to use my little spatula here to make sure that I get everything out and into the crock pot. You can put this on low after we get it all mixed in together and just let it go until your vegetables and the tortellini, the pasta, is completely soft. You don't want any tough pasta in your family's soup bowl. I'm going to serve this up with salad tonight for dinner. I'm going to make some bread, some French bread, and we are going to call that good. I'm hoping there's going to be enough left over that we'll have dinner for a couple of nights as for just empty nesters. I'm also going to put in the beans, and this recipe said not to drain those beans. We're going to need that liquid to cook up all of the vegetables in that vegetable soup mix, and of course the tortellini that is dry, and we need to cook that pasta. Using my spatula to get all that in, I went ahead and measured out 2 cups of water. That's already here. I'm going to pour in my 2 cups. Then I've got 2 packets of soup mix. We're going to put in a packet of this Lipton onion soup mix. Of course, this goes in lots of different recipes. You can add sour cream or Greek yogurt and have a wonderful dip for vegetables or crackers or what have you. But you can Google and find all sorts of recipes and different things to do with onion soup mix. Then we're going to add this Knorr vegetable mix. Now, this is also found in your grocers section where you would find regular soups, but this is dry. It is a little pricey. I kind of resented having to pay for it, to tell you the truth, but I wanted to try the recipe, so here we go. I do have another recipe somewhere that has used this in the past, so it's a good one for a recipe basis. Kind of surprised, honestly, that there's not a store brand for the Knorr vegetable mix. At least there was not one at the grocery store for where I went to purchase mine this kind. So because my crock pot's starting to get a little full, I'm going to just stir very lightly and carefully. I went ahead and diced up, minced my cloves before we started the video. think the church cookbook called for garlic cloves. I think the recipe called for 2 garlic cloves, but I love garlic so much. Love the smell of it. Love the flavor it adds. Very pungent. I went ahead and added a 3rd one. Why not? If you don't have a garlic press, I highly recommend the Pampered Chef garlic press. This one is fantastic. Works well every time. And then a cup of chopped up onion. I used the purple onion because I just thought it would look pretty, and I like the flavor of purple onion. But if you have got a Vidalia onion or a white onion or some other yellow onion, you just use what you've got. Okay, isn't that amazing? We are almost ready assembling this soup. It's going to go together very quickly, as you can see, and if it's as delicious or even half as delicious as it is easy, this recipe is going to become part of our fall rotation, I must say. I'm going to go ahead and cut the lid, cut the top off of my tortellini. These are dry. Now, I'm sure you could substitute and use the fresh ones that you can find in your grocery store. These are totally dry, so I'm going to drop these in. I think the original recipe just called for cheese tortellini, but I found some that were cheese and spinach. That sounded a little healthier to me, as well as a little more yummy. So I went ahead and bought that one. So this is in here now. And I hesitated because the recipe called for 2 packages in this church cookbook. And I was afraid that it might need more liquid to cook it all up. And also, it didn't say the size of the package. So this package is 12 ounces. I'm going to go ahead and dump both packages in. And if it turns out that I need more than 2 cups of water to get this fully cooked, then I will adjust my recipe accordingly. And you can trust that whatever I did is going to be fully disclosed in the recipe that you can link below and download. So I'm going to get this mixed up. I'm going to make sure that all my little tiny tortellinis are fully submerged. I'm going to keep an eye on this as I make my bread this afternoon and let this get cooked. But folks, that's all there is to it. I think this is going to be a delicious recipe. I'm just going to go ahead and make it and trust that it's going to be yummy. And then we will post this, and by the time it posts, my family will have already enjoyed it and taste tested it. I hope that you'll try this recipe. I hope that you will be challenged by our do it list for the month of October to check out your pantry shelves. Dig around in there, find a lone can of soup or some other ingredient that's been forlorn in there, needs to be used up before the date of expiration that may be approaching, and let us know below in a note what you've decided to make this week and what ingredient on your pantry shelves inspired that recipe. Thanks so much for tuning in today to Cross My Heart Ministry. I'm Laurie McFarland, and I want to invite you to come back on Friday to tune into our channel and continue studying with us, or pick up and jump in to our study of the book of Esther this fall. We'll be moving on to Galatians after that, and we would love to have you study the Word of God with us. Have a blessed week.